What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the final Blazers Uprise post-game show of the 2020-2021 NBA season. The Blazers tonight collapse with a miserable second-half performance. They only scored 20 points in the final 16 minutes, and they lose to the Denver Nuggets, thus ending their season. Denver moves on to round 2, where they will play the winner of Phoenix and the Lakers. Right now, it looks like Phoenix is taking care of the Lakers. Now we transition into off-season mode, and we get to look ahead to some possible changes for the Portland Trail Blazers. But first, we got to recap this game, recap what went wrong, and sorry for not going live right after the game. I went to the game, and so I had to rush home. I live all the way up in Vancouver, so took a little bit of time, but I hustled home safely, of course. And now we're live to talk about the downfall of this Blazers team, maybe the best roster that Damian Lillard has had, going up against the matchup we wanted, an injured Denver Nuggets team without Jamal Murray, without Will Barton, without PJ Dozier, and Denver wins in 6. This is an absolute failure of a season. We're not the type to sugarcoat it. This season was an absolute failure, and there needs to be big changes, especially with the coaching staff and maybe with some of the personnel. Eric, what are your thoughts and feelings right now, man?
Yeah, just inexcusable. I'm just going to say it. We are better than Denver. There is no excuse to lose to them in 6 games in a series, to come out and play beautiful basketball, to build a 14-point lead in the second half and then just completely crap your pants and blow that game. I mean, it's just disgusting. I mean, I cannot believe how selfish this team is, how poorly coached they are, how much lack of discipline they have in all facets of the game. And they just completely wilted and choked. And this is an absolute, like you put it perfectly, failure of a season. There is no way this team should be going home right now. They should be gearing up for their second-round opponent, which at this point looks like it's going to be the Suns. They should be preparing for them right now. There is no excuse for losing this series to a Denver team that does not have Jamal Murray. And I'm quite frankly, I'm pissed off that the season's over right now. They didn't even give themselves a chance to win. They put themselves in a position where, you mess around and this is what happens. You blow a game at home again to an inferior team, and it's so maddening that you can go through a season. You have Dame going into the playoffs. You get him a week worth of rest, and you just waste him. And it's just another season wasted because of our crappy coach and because of the selfish play on the floor that manifests in the type of schemes that Stotts runs. He is not an offensive genius. He does not do crap on the offensive end. He just lets his players do whatever the F they want, and it's not good basketball. It does not work in the playoffs. Tori and I have been telling you guys that ever since we started or doing shows on Blazers Uprise. And this crap just continues year after year. This freaking coach gets away with just throwing the ball out and hoping this year, it'll be different. Let's just see what Dame does this year. It took like him hitting a record amount of 3-pointers to even come back and almost win Game 5. And it's just ridiculous incompetence by this coaching staff. And they should all be gone. Clean house. Get them all the frick out of here. I don't ever want to see them on the sidelines of this team again.
Yep. I mean, I was in the game, had really good seats, by the way. And I sat there the whole fourth quarter. It was like, what in the world are we running on offense? And it's exactly what I've talked about for a long time. I was maybe the first one to start talking about it. Now everybody sees it, so that's good. Stotts needs to go. We've been saying it for years. We've been saying our style of play does not translate to postseason success, okay? And everybody wanted to scream, well, we don't have enough talent. We have more talent than the Denver Nuggets, and would you look at that? We lose to them in 6 because our style of play does not translate to postseason success. I told y'all. I told y'all. Like, this is how this was going to go down. And it's exactly how it went down. Now, I thought that our talent could overcome our style of play. So I had us winning the series. Turns out we are so incompetent and play such a bad style of basketball that even that talent gap against an injured team doesn't make a difference. Okay? So everybody that wants to sit there and say, talent this, talent that, yada yada, plain simple, we need a new head coach and we need him this offseason. If Stotts is back, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, it is so obvious. Nurkic, you can tell, wants his ass gone. Okay? I'd be surprised if a guy like Ant, who's on fire in the first half, has 3 threes in a row. Did he get a shot the rest of the game? I don't think he did. I think he drove once. I can't remember if he shot it or not. Bro, we don't run a single thing for him when he's on fire. The whole fourth quarter, what happens? We fall back to freaking Stotts fence. And that is standing around at half court, setting screens at half court, letting Dame get trapped 40 feet away from the rim, not having a plan to beat it, and then just hoping Dame can go 1-on-3 and save us. Well, Dame didn't save us tonight, okay? Because Dame can't have a 55 performance every game. Even when he has a freaking 55-point performance, we still lose to a team we're better than. It's so beyond obvious, man. Everything I've talked about, that I'm tired of talking about, being at the game, it was even more obvious than ever. It was even more obvious than ever, man. I mean, just the whole fourth quarter, we're just standing around. We have 7 points in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Through the first 8 minutes, we have 7 freaking points. How is that possible? With our offensive talent and our, quote, offensive genius head coach against a defense that isn't that good, we score 7 points in 8 freaking minutes. We score 16 points in 20 minutes. 20 points in the last 16 minutes. How is that possible? They built a lead playing the style of offense that they need to play more. But that style of offense is the outlier. How this team actually is and how it's actually coached, it's the team that had the lowest amount of assists per possession during the regular season this year and last year. They always fall back to a bad style of play because that is their baseline. Their baseline is just isolation, not running crap, playing some damn rat ball. That's it. That's it. And Dame, please save us. And that's what you saw in the fourth quarter. Guess what? Dame can't go 1-on-3 all the freaking time to bail out our damn head coach. So that is the result you get. You get us losing in the first round in 6 games to a team that's worse than us. So now, Stotts just needs to go. He can go to Boston. He can go to Memphis. He can go to anywhere, bro. I don't care. He needs to not be in Portland next year. We need a freaking competent coach because the way this team is coached, what I saw tonight was absolute, as you said, Eric, absolute incompetence.
Yep. And this is why we harped on this the entire season about not being prepared for this moment. And then you talk about last night, we look at Stotts' quote like, oh, game 6, you got to focus on the details. No, you should have been focusing on those all season. You should have been locked into all that kind of stuff. And we got killed on the offensive rebounds tonight. Part of his quote was learning, like, boxing out and getting rebounds, you know? So, like, where was that emphasis the last 2 years when we've been absolutely terrible at boxing out and keeping other teams off the offensive rebounds? And it's just a complete lack of preparation and detail. And we just, like you said, it's rat ball. They just throw the ball out there and hope it gets better. And they just kept hoping and hoping. They get Nurk back, and he kind of masks a few of the problems, you know, and he plays decent enough at times to kind of keep them in some of the games, you know, as a secondary playmaker or defender for this team. But it's not good enough. You can't just insert a guy and hope he improves all 5 guys on defense, you know? Like, you need to be in sync as a unit, and this team has not been since Vanderpool left. You can make the argument that even with Vanderpool, it wasn't. I know they had some years where they had some success, at least defensive rating wise, but in the playoffs, they still didn't have the type of defense that could scheme a team out of what they like to do. And it's always we're stuck wondering why we can't stop another team, or why another team always goes off on us, or why another team always shuts us down in the clutch in a tight game, and all this stuff. And we know all these reasons why, and we haven't fixed them in 9 years being here. This guy has not fixed any of these problems. I mean, you can cut it in two sections if you want to say once Aldridge left. They had a great season the year after Aldridge left, upset the Clippers in the first round. I mean, who knows if they would have won that series? They might have lost had Paul and Griffin not gone hurt, but it was about to be a 2-2 series. But then they play the Warriors tough, and then so everyone's like, oh, this is such a great coach, he overachieved. Since that playoffs, this coach has been absolutely terrible. If you guys remember right, the next season, we were, I think, 11 games under 500 at one point in the second half of the season. We make the trade for Nurkic, and we were like 17-3 or something like that in a 20-game stretch, and barely make the 8th seed. And then we're all injured that season. Our bigs are all injured, so we get swept, of course, by the Warriors. But and then the next year we get swept by the freaking Pelicans, and then we go on this Western Conference Finals run. What a great coaching job, right? Well, I feel like he actually held the team back even that season as well. And the last 2 years, I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat the last 2 years. They have underachieved the last 2 years, even with the injuries. I felt like they should have done better, and it's just a disgrace that there's actually people, like even in chat right now, saying that this team doesn't have the personnel to win a series or whatever. It's
Bruh.
I don't know. That's just crazy to me. This team is multi-talented. They have players that can score in multitude of ways. They have a top 10 all-time scorer. They have two of the better scorers in the NBA. They have a guy like Norman Powell who comes over in the middle of the season, who's incredibly efficient. One of the better, efficiency-wise shooting guards in the NBA this year up until the point he comes to Portland. You have a playmaking center in Nurkic. You have a backup center in Cantor who, for all his defensive faults, the guy was like one of the best offensive rebounders in the league this year. You have Simon shooting like 42% from three this year. There's no excuse for our offense to just disappear at times like it does, and it's because we do not have a proper offense. Stotts has been saved time and time again by these great scorers, and it's time we get someone who can actually teach them how to get open shots.
I mean, all the people that are blaming the personnel are all the people that were saying, oh, we're injured, what do you expect Terry Stotts to do?
Right.
Well, guess who's the injured team? It wasn't us. It was them. They beat us. They had less talent. Personnel is not the reason we lost this series. Sure, it could be better. Sure, you could have a better defender than CJ. But our style of play, the way a team plays, the style of play is the baseline for the team. And then you need good players, in that. You need a Damian Lillard. You need, a CJ McCollum, or maybe some people will say somebody better. Okay, I get that. Bro, our style of play is a serious issue. We get up 14 points, and then we stop doing everything that's working. We stop moving the ball. We stop moving players. We stop getting into our offense quickly. It's such an obvious transition between us, randomly doing what we should be doing, and it working, and us building a 14-point lead, than us scoring 20 points in the last 16 minutes. Bro, this team is talented. I talk to other people from other fan bases, and they're like, your fans think your team is less talented than it is. It's like Blazer fans are the one fan base that underrates their players, which is just crazy to me, because every other fan base, it seems like, overrates their players, Heat fans won't trade Tyler Hero for James freaking Harden, right? But, I don't know. It's not a talent issue. I've been saying it for 2 years. Everything is played out exactly how I warned you guys it might play out with our style of play. Okay? You cannot sit here and tell me that the Denver Nuggets were more talented and they beat us because they were more talented. That is absolutely not the case, and anybody saying that needs to get a grip. Like, plain and simple. So, for everybody, oh, CJ, screw CJ this, screw CJ that. CJ was really bad today, and I would trade him for the right deal. Okay, I'm not going to trade him for a G League player and downgrade the talent on this team. A lot of people complain about the talent on this team and then want to trade CJ for a scrub. For like an Aaron Gordon, man. Wait, bro, Aaron Gordon's not better than CJ. You got to trade CJ in the right deal. And we'll talk about that at another time. Maybe a little bit later in the stream. I don't know. But yeah, CJ didn't play well tonight. I would trade him in the right trade. But what's the base issue with this team? It's the way they play basketball. Their offense has the least amount of ball movement. It's literally the least imaginative offense. And that's not just me saying that. Other people that just covered the NBA across the league are realizing it and saying it too. Kevin O'Connor said it. And I know I gave Kevin O'Connor a ton of crap at the start of the season, but he's right. And I'm right. The offense is so basic and rudimentary. Most of the time it looks like pure rat ball. And just, okay, let's roll the ball out. Dame, please save us. You're amazing. And then when he gets trapped, it's like there's no answer. It's still like, oh, let's run a pick and roll 40 feet away from the rim. Our offense is a complete joke. Our coaching staff has no idea how to coach defense. We bring in Robert Covington and Norman Powell, and our defense is the second worst in the league, the third worst in NBA history. Bro, like, I saw Dame, and I watched Dame a lot. And being at the game, I kind of could watch him a little bit easier. They put Dame on Michael Porter Jr., and Dame locks him up the second half. Locks him up. Doesn't let him get space. Doesn't let him get a look. Bro, our defense doesn't suck because Dame's a bad defender. Mm-hmm. The thing is, under the right coach, I think Dame would be a solid defender. Maybe not good, maybe not great, but solid, average, good enough. There's no reason our defense should be this bad. There's no reason. All the problems we have defensively aren't due to personnel-related reasons. I've been saying that for years. Right? And then we bring in a Robert Covington. We bring in a Norman Powell. We had a Derrick Jones Jr. starting this year. Even with Nurk back, our defense is still crap. It's not a personnel thing. So I'm not going to sit here and rant about specific players. Because the main issue that needs to be fixed is this damn coaching staff. And then after that, then we can tinker around with the roster, maybe trade CJ, find the right deal for him, whatever. But this coaching staff needs to go. And I've said it for 5 years. And the thing is, I can read back stuff I said 5 years ago, and it all applies to this team now. I've been saying it for a long time. And I never thought it would play out quite to this extent where we lose to this Denver Nuggets team, man. That's crazy.
And we had stretches where we didn't have CJ this year for, 25 games, I think it was. We had a bigger guard there. Our defense was still complete ass. We were 29th in defense that whole stretch without CJ too. So for those who are saying it's Dame and CJ that are the problem, no. And for those who are saying, well, you can't play three guards and play defense or whatever, that's BS too. We had a good defensive rating with our starting lineup. And second of all, you don't have to play those three together all the freaking time. Like tonight, Michael Porter Jr. is going off in the first half. Why not put a Derrick Jones or a Nas Little on him and just see if they can provide some length or something to shut him down? Like, you don't have to keep having Norman Powell guarding him when he's hitting 6 threes in a row. You don't have to do that. And this is the problem. People are just going to excuse that as having a small lineup. Oh, well, how can Stotts do anything when he doesn't have the length on defense to guard a guy like Michael Porter Jr. who can shoot over our small guards? Well, you don't have to guard Michael Porter Jr. with the small guards. Why do you have Robert Covington on Aaron Gordon instead of Michael Porter Jr. in these games? Why don't you put a lesser defender on Gordon since, he hit some shots in this game, but overall he is not a good scorer. So you're not going to get burnt by a guy like Aaron Gordon unless you're letting him get offensive rebounds or cutting to the basket and falling asleep and stuff like that. So why not switch it around? So anyone who's trying to make those excuses are not giving the right attention to the things that the coach can control. He can manipulate these things. He can have better defensive schemes. He can pay more attention or use different players on this roster. But the fact is, this guy completely gave up on any kind of defensive presence that we have on the wings when he started benching Derrick Jones and Nas Little. Those guys we were going to need them at some point when we play a team with length on the wings, and that's what happens when you don't give those guys a chance to prove themselves on the court. You just bench them and try to go with this small lineup and stuff like that. You're not setting yourself up to have long-term success. Sure, it worked short-term to get us into the playoffs or whatever, but we all knew it wasn't going to be sustainable when we had a tougher matchup playing that way. And it completely played out that way this season, in my opinion.
Yep. Let's thank some donos. Let's catch up on the donos. Shout out BR Swear for $10 donos. Sorry, guys, I don't want to stay up for this for the stream this time. Good luck. I'm so irritated and sad. Why can't Terry manage a game at all? 14-point lead with 4 minutes left in the third, and we lost by 11. I assume he's probably not in here anymore if he said he wasn't watching the stream, and I get it. I get being this frustrated and just not even wanting to think about this team right now. So no hard feelings about that.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Swerve.
the dono from Swerve.
Let me just say something about that. So when we took the 14-point lead, there was a graphic shown. This was in the third quarter, right? We had 21 assists. Mm-hmm. 21 assists.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look what our final assist number was. It couldn't have been that good. But that's 24. What got us the lead. What did we finish with?
24.
Yeah. So over 16 minutes, we had 4 assists the last almost 17 minutes of the game. Just
3, because you said we had 21 to 25. Yeah, 3. That's terrible.
Yeah, and we got that lead because we were moving the ball. We weren't taking dumb shots for the most part. I mean, you have ISO scorers, so of course they're going to take shots in isolation every once in a while, which is fine. That's like it's going to happen in the course of a game. You have to have scorers make shots at some point. But for the most part, up until that point, we're moving the ball. And then what do? We just go completely like we're lost on offense, not moving the ball at all, not making the right pass. I think the only play you could maybe say was the exception to that was CJ had a kick out to Norm who missed a 3 late in the game. But at that point, I think we were already down like 8 or 6 or something like that. So like we'd already like crapped ourselves by that point. So it's so frustrating because we showed how we could get a lead, and then we just completely do the opposite the rest of the game as we watch the lead not only go away, but then they build a double-digit lead on us. That's just it's inexcusable.
Yep. I don't ever want to hear a clown say that assists don't correlate to winning. With this team, when we move the ball, we have better offense. When we don't move the ball, we have worse offense. Guess what? Assists are a reflection of that. So I don't ever want to hear anybody ever say that assists don't correlate to winning for this team, bro. Like, when this team moves the ball, it's a lot better. It gets a lot better shots. It's a lot easier. They turn the ball over less, actually. Because I had people at the start of the season try and say, if you move the ball more, you're going to have more turnovers. Well, I think when everybody's standing around and Dame has to drive into 2 defenders, I think that's a lot higher chance for a turnover than if you make basic passes. So I don't ever want to hear any of those arguments ever again. Morrison says 2 assists in the fourth quarter. Yeah, that's ridiculous, dude. The offense in the fourth quarter was maybe the worst I've seen all season. I'm sitting there.
What's up, Brad?
I'm sitting there. I sat very close to Anthony's girlfriend, by the way. She was like 4 seats down. So, I mean, maybe, hopefully she asks Ant, you know, this guy, all the fourth quarter, he was asking you guys what you were running, and you guys are just standing around. No, I mean, I'm just joking about that. Like, she ain't gonna say that. But you know what I mean? I was sitting there in the game just like, what in the world are we doing? What are we running? The whole fourth quarter, it was just like, what are we doing, man? Oh my goodness. I was sitting on the opposite end of the court so I could kind of see what the point guard was seeing. It's just like, I don't know how I can describe it any better than I have all season long. Like, if you don't see it, you don't see it. This offense is a joke. It was such a joke in the fourth quarter. It was comical, man. My freaking rec league team runs better offense than that, man. Like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. I can't believe that this is an NBA team running offense like that. It's comical. It's comical. Anyway.
Real quick, so Jackson timed out in Barking Box. The reason for that in Barking Box, even though you're an OG and we love you, but don't post fake Woj is reporting that Stotts is fired. Like, no one, don't post. That's an automatic timeout. If you do it more than once, we'll ban you. Because we don't need the fake stuff. It's going to happen, and let's all celebrate when that tweet comes out. But we don't need to preemptively do that.
Yeah. So that's why Embarking Box.
It's all good.
Yeah. So let's thank the rest of the donos. Apples 2, Australian dollar donos. Stotts 100% fired now. You can't say 100% fired until he's actually, like, it's being reported that he's fired. So, I mean, that should be happening. I don't know. I have to be honest, there is a sliver of me that is slightly worried that for some reason he's going to stay. Like, he has to be gone, right? I mean, get this guy out. Even some of the players seem to want him gone. Like, get rid of this guy, please. Embarking Box said he got played. Yeah, if you're going to, like, bring out some Woj says, try and, like, double check it on Twitter or, like,
verify the check mark.
Just because somebody tells you it doesn't mean you should automatically believe it. You know what I mean? Because then when you say it in chat, like, I had to go through Twitter and I was double checking it to make sure. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a lot easier for you to double check it than me when I'm streaming and ranting about this team. So, anyway, shout out Apples for that $2 Australian dollar dono.
And for the record, Tori and I both saw the interview already. I mean, we can still watch it, but the Stotts was asked point blank by Jason Quick what he thought his job security was in the interview. So we'll get to that later, maybe.
Yeah. We'll get to maybe a Nurk interview instead. Shout out Sebastian Absolution for $2 dono with no message. Shout out Kuhn Marcelo for a 125. I don't know what currency that is, but it's 125 is something from Kuhn with no message, so appreciate it to Mr. Marcelo. Shout out Shaggy Squid for a 10 Australian dollar dono. Said West was wide open this year and we losing 6 to a way less talented team. But Stotts is gone, CJ is gone, Melo and Can are gone. 2021, 2022, here we come. Got to keep positive, right? I mean, I'll be positive once Stotts is gone. Once Stotts is gone, then I am good. You know, we'll celebrate that with the stream. So appreciate it, Shaggy Squid. Shout out REP Blazers $2 dono. Said, watch every post-game interview for the boys. I already listened to Stotts, so we can talk about some of what he said, but I'm not watching a Stotts interview. I kind of want to watch a Nurkic interview, but I don't know if... I don't know. Like, part of me just really does not want to, like, watch a bunch of interviews right now. Shout out Near012 for a $5 dono. Says, of course, Dame looked gas. He's been carrying Stotts on his back for 6 years. It's facts, man. That's facts. And I don't know. It's like it was like if we can't get our best player a clean look for 16 minutes, I mean, come on. We can't get CJ a clean look. Like, it's not like CJ had a clean look in those 16 minutes. Like, we couldn't get a clean look outside of a Norman Powell corner 3. Shout out.
Well, real quick on the Dame thing. So, I mean, what did he play on less than 48 hours ago? He played like 53 minutes or something in that game, right?
Yeah.
I want to say something like that. And then here we are, back in early in the second quarter, doesn't sit at all in the second half. I mean, I know our season's on the line and stuff like that, but it's not like we increased the lead with him staying in the game during that time or anything. We actually blew the lead during that time. So it's like, I don't know. We've been talking about this. You have to find a way to get him a rest earlier in the game. I mean, Denver got Jokic rest, and they actually, I think, during this series, they ended up winning those minutes with Jokic on the bench, which is completely unacceptable as well. Mm-hmm. Portland's got to find a way to generate enough offense to at least break even in those minutes, and they can't. And you can't just keep running Dame into the ground, and then no wonder he's tired and can't make an incredibly difficult shot with a guy in his face in the second half of this game, because I mean he's being run into the ground once again in a series, and like you said, we don't do anything to make his job easier or to get him a good look or to let him rest on the court or by freeing him up in a different way other than just pick and roll or letting him go one-on-one. And, it's just another thing that I hate about the way we utilize his minutes and stuff like that.
Yep. And let me thank Near012 for a $5 dono. He says, of course. Oh, no, that was the last one. Shout out Mills Woj for a $10 dono. He says, I'm happy this was toxic basketball that wouldn't have not won in this league. We need to change. This needed to happen when we got swept by the Pelicans. Yeah, I mean, Stott should have went after that series, but people went to bat for him. I mean, it's obvious. The dude is not a good NBA head coach when it comes to trying to help a team win in the playoffs. It's been obvious for a while to me, and now some other people have realized that as well. So, shout out to Luis Magana for a $5 donut. Says Stotts looked real confident in his post-game interview when he said that he still has 2 years left on his contract. Yeah, hopefully that's the last time we see him. Because he needs to go, and this organization is just like a failure from the top down. Like Olshey, if Olshey doesn't fire him, then Olshey needs to go because he's just clueless when it comes to basketball. Like, I don't know how a GM who knows basketball keeps Stotts after this crap. There's no way. So,
well, like if Olshey does stay, he's also got to hit a home run in the next coaching hire, because he can't afford to just hire a Jason Kidd or something and think that that's going to make a difference or anything, you know.
Doesn't he only have 1 year left on his contract?
Okay, so a lot of those things aren't public. The coaches, like the players' contracts are obviously a lot more public than front office executives and coaches. Everything I had read this year was that he had 2 years, including this one, but Stotts in the postgame said that he had 2 years under his contract, so that's all he was going to say about his long-term situation.
Shout out to Marcelo for, what's the currency of the Philippines? Because I think that's what he's donating with. I'm not entirely sure, but shout out Marcelo for 250 donation of something. He says, this could have been our chance, since it is possible for both LA teams to be out of the playoffs. It is a sad day for Portland fans, especially for us here in the Philippines. Shout out to the Philippines. Shout out to everybody watching our content across the globe. The Lakers right now are losing 59-39, 30 seconds left in the second quarter. So, we'll keep tabs on that game throughout this stream, but it is almost halftime. Shout out to Killer54, $2 dono. Says Becky Hammond or not, at least the Lakers are losing. I'll take Becky Hammond if it means getting rid of Stotts. Like, I'll take anybody but Stotts. I'll take Eric Brandt over Stotts. I'll take Taylor Packer and Chat over Stotts. I'll take a homeless man over Stotts. I will take literally anybody on this planet over Stotts at this point. Like, just get him gone, please.
Yeah, as far as Becca Hammond goes, I think she has earned, definitely should be interviewed this summer for many of the opening coaching positions. I would have absolutely no problem if they interview her and she is the right person for the job. Like Tori's mentioned in previous streams, I don't want it just for like the publicity of having a woman coach, but I have no problem with a woman being the coach if she's the right fit for our team.
Yep. I'd even take Danny Meringue over Stotts at this point, man.
That's funny. Zaka's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, Allison said Danny Mara. She didn't finish his name, but yeah, I'd take Danny Meringue. Yeah,
she was first.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. I saw Zacho at the game today. He found me a lot faster than Smog did. Smog, I don't even know if he's in here. I don't think he's in here. Man has to get his glasses or something. That's another conversation for maybe later in the stream. I gotta give him crap for that. But yeah, shout out to I don't know, any of those of you who went to the game. And experienced that in person with me, because that was rough. Shout out to Blazers Jr. for a $2 donut. Says fire Stotts and trade CJ or free Dame. No, I mean, Dame wants to be here and we want Dame here, so screw that. Fire Stotts, trade CJ if it's a solid package, and build better around Dame. That's the mindset. I'm a Blazers fan, so I mean, it's not like we're holding him hostage. He wants to be here. Like, I hate how people are like, free him, free him. That's so stupid. I don't like that, bro. It's just weird to me, man. Like, the dude wants to be here. Like, we can do things to make things better and make the team better, and that's firing the coach right now. Like, work to build a better organization around him because he wants to be here. That's what Dame deserves. The whole free Dame, like we're holding him hostage. I don't get that. But appreciate the dono for $2 dono from Blazers Jr. Shout out David U, $5 Australian dono, said, first time in a long time I feel elated after a loss. Look forward to all the changes in the offseason. As long as Dame is here, we will be fine. Thanks. And that is the silver lining with this loss, is that Terry Stotts should be gone. That's the silver lining. Better than last year, I guess. But also last year was a series we shouldn't have won. You know what I mean? But it's like Stotts is definitely coming back. This year, there's no way he comes back. Right? Like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping for the best case scenario of winning this series and then, playing the next series tough and at least continuing our season a little bit further than losing in 6 to this Nuggets team. But yeah, it's kind of hard for me to think of a silver lining because even if we won this series, I feel like it wasn't because of coaching, even though, our coach once again said it was evenly matched in terms of talent, but they lost in 6 games. So how can you explain that, Coach Stotts? And once again in his press conference, he took no accountability for anything that happened this season or in his tenure here or for this series or whatever. So, yeah, it's just frustrating. Yeah.
Yep. Shout out to BR Swerve for another donor. This one's a $2. Says, I am here still actually just very sad right now. Appreciate you, BR Swerve. I feel it. We all feel it. A lot of people are feeling anger. A lot of people are feeling depression. I just am numb right now. So, shout JL, $5 donor, says 14 fourth quarter points, 5 of them coming from one player, which was Melo, offensive genius Terry Stotts. Yeah, Melo scored 5 points in isolation. Where's the offensive genius getting us good shots? I can't believe people think he's an offensive genius. Shout out Cole Ray for a $3 dono. Says trade CJ for Brogdon and Warren and re-sign Powell. Indiana doesn't do that. Indiana laughs at that, in my opinion.
What? Okay. I love the trade CJ people that think we'll get like 8 good players for trading him or whatever, or someone that's clearly better than him. Like, if you're trading CJ, set your examples for trades way lower than that. Like, I mean, we'd be lucky to get either Brogdon or Warren in a trade with CJ, let alone both of them.
Yep, that's the problem, is the trade CJ camp, like, here's the issue that I have with the trade CJ camp, okay? Mm-hmm. They act like CJ is just absolute garbage, which he's not, but they act like he's absolute garbage, but then they contradict that by thinking he also has a ton of trade value. How is somebody who you think is absolute garbage, how does he have a ton of trade value, okay? And then they end up saying, we have to trade CJ or else it's fire O'Shea, screw O'Shea if he doesn't trade CJ. And they're operating under the pretense that they're going to be able to get like a Malcolm Brogdon and a TJ Warren back for CJ. You're not going to get that much. People think like, oh, O'Shea just has to snap his fingers and trade him for Brandon Ingram. Why would the Pelicans do that when they're rebuilding and have a young team and Brandon Ingram is better than CJ? We're not going to get Jaylen Brown for him. Like, the Raptors aren't going to want to trade Siakam for CJ because they have a packed backcourt. They already got Van Vliet and Trent. Malachi Flynn looked okay to end the year. Probably bringing Lowry back. Like, bro, if they're rebuilding, he makes no sense there. If they're trying to win, they bring Lowry back and they have a packed backcourt, and he also makes no sense there. So that's the thing, is like, the trade CJ crowd thinks that he can fetch back so much value, which he can't. It's like,
and if he's trash, why would other teams want to trade?
That's the first part of my point, is like, if he's trash, why does he have a ton of trade value and you think you could get a Brogdon and a Warren for him?
But that's like always the people who are like his biggest haters that also think that he can garner the most in a trade. Yeah, you're gonna get. I mean, especially after this series, unfortunately, he kind of knocked his trade value down a little bit. But you have to find the right situation. It's got to be a team that's looking for a lead guard that's not on the youngish side, and like a ready to win now team that thinks having a guard like that is the missing piece. But the problem is there isn't a lot of good teams or teams that are ready to win that are missing a guard. Most of those teams, there's a lot of good point guards, especially in this league right now. So if you're trading for CJ, you would think it's more to have him in that lead guard role versus the secondary guard position that you're having now. So there's not a lot of teams with that big of a need that would want a 30-year-old guard. I mean, if they're a rebuilding team, it makes no sense. And so, yeah, it's just really tough to find a good trade partner.
Yep. Shout out to Michael Kroll for becoming a superstar member. Shout out to Zach Landia for $2 dono. Says, why are you so against interviews, Tori? LOL, question mark. I don't know. I don't I don't know. Like, you guys want to watch them, so I'll watch them, but I don't want to. Like, I'll watch them after the fact. It's just, I don't know. Just
That's a lot of people's favorite parts.
Yeah. Thanks, man. The interviews are your favorite because of our reactions. I get it.
Yeah, it's our reactions.
Rant, but like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Shout out Kirkpatrick, $5 dono. Says, not challenging the three was cost Nurk and gave up 3 points, but then challenging the out of bounds was just bad. Dame deserves better. So frustrated. That out of bounds call was obviously off Denver. I don't know how that did not get overturned. That was ridiculous. The refs were pretty ridiculous this game.
Yeah, actually, so in the replays, at least the ones I saw, it looked like it was hard to tell. Both their hands were right there. It should have. I mean, it was pretty clearly off Denver, but since they called it on the floor and there wasn't like conclusive evidence, they had to keep it. I guess, I don't know.
Ridiculous. I was seeing all the same replays in the arena, like it was obvious. I thought, and there was a bunch of questionable calls. Those refs were ridiculous. Bill Kennedy was the worst tonight. Bill Kennedy. Yep, but I was paying attention to Bill Kennedy. And that dude was terrible. Like, all his calls were horrible.
At least in the first quarter, they called Jokic for hooking Nurkic and trying to, like, flop for a foul. They called the offensive foul on it.
Comes out in the second quarter and, like, is just, like, mollywops Nurkic and doesn't get called for his third. And I told the people next to me, I'm like, they're not going to call him for his third this half. Like, he can do whatever he wants right now. And he didn't get his third the rest of the half. Like, and dude's just allowed to do whatever he wants because he already has 2 and they're not going to give him his third. I don't know. Like, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. That did not. The refs were bad in this one. Plain simple.
The refs were bad, but I don't think we lost because of the refs. I don't think any of these games come down to refs. And I don't like seeing people blame what happened on the refs for us not being prepared in these games.
Yep. Kufoop says number 55 was awful. My section was cussing him out. Yeah, that's Bill Kennedy. And he heard me. He heard me shout his name at him. The dude was bad. But anyway, shout out Zach Landia for $10 dono. Says, watch all the interviews. We'll watch the Nurkic interview for sure. And maybe the Dame interview just because you donated. Appreciate it. Zach, shout out Embarking Box, $5 dono, says, I probably shouldn't read Twitter while online at Whataburger. Hope you two are doing well. I really hope we hire someone from the Spurs system, and I'd be down for a Spurs disciple as well. Appreciate Embarking Box. All good. I believe you. You're not the type to come in here and like troll us, so that's why I was kind of surprised that it was you. But yeah, definitely if you see anything.
I was just explaining why you got a timeout. I wasn't like mad at him or anything.
If you see anything, if anybody like retweets or likes an obviously fake Stotts is fired tweet, very likely you'll get an unfollow from me if I follow you. All right? And I don't even care if I know you, because there's somebody I know that I unfollowed because he bought it and shouldn't have. Like, screw the trolling stuff on Twitter, and like I don't like that. So shout out to guess who I unfollowed, Eric, for that.
Who?
Isaac.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Of course, it was Isaac. Shout out Mills Woj for $5 dono. Says, honestly, after those last two games, I'll take that Kemba thing if we keep Rocco and get Jalen. It was a trade we talked about last night on Blazers Uprise Live. If you're not subscribed to our second channel, that's where we're going to be streaming the most during the offseason, so make sure you subscribe to that now. Link is at the top of the description. We will have various streams on this channel. It just won't be post-game shows, so make sure you subscribe to that second channel. Link in the description. Appreciate it, Mills Woj. And we'll talk a lot of like trade stuff on our second channel and like off-season possibilities and whatnot heading into the off-season. We'll have you covered with that type of stuff.
And for just real quick, the Kawhi Leonard thing is not going to happen. Why would he be sitting there in LA, even if they lose that series, thinking, you know what would be the team I want to go to? Another like playoff failing team. Let's go play in Portland. Like he's not gonna want to sign here and have us trade something to get him and all that kind of stuff. So don't even bother with the Kawhi.
It's one of the greatest performances.
All right, sorry about the audio leak there. And Dwight James just posted an article 2 minutes ago saying Terry Stotts is likely coached his last game for the Blazers. I hope that is the case. I hope that's the case. Shout out to, let's see where we are here. Near012 for $5 dono says, I'm in the trade CJ camp for cap space. Resign Norm and let Ant get minutes. The other players involved don't matter. Trading CJ for cap space doesn't make sense because we still won't get cap space. And we can re-sign Norm without cap space. So, like, we re-sign Norm. We're like going to be like $30-40 million over the salary cap. So why would we trade CJ to save money? It'd literally be giving him away for nothing. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You don't trade CJ for nothing. But appreciate the dono as always. Near012, you're very supportive. I can't agree with trading CJ for nothing. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Near012 for another dono. Dono says $2 dono. Also opens the door for Little to play. I'm hoping Little gets a chance next year under a good coach. And I want to see what Anthony does under a good coach, because I feel like Anthony could really blossom next year. Shout out Max Buckley, $2 dono, says, trade CJ for Gary Trent Jr. LMAO, I'm so sad right now. Love you guys. Gary Trent Jr. is a restricted free agent, so it'd have to be a sign and trade, and that's not going to happen. And we couldn't do it anyway.
We traded CJ away instead of Gary Trent Jr.
I mean, he said trade CJ for Gary Trent Jr., so... I mean,
no, I know, but I think that's just like sarcasm, meaning he wishes we traded CJ instead of Trent at the
just taking what he says is what he says. I don't know. I mean, maybe. But yeah, Gary Trent Jr. is a free agent, so not really tradable. We can't like sign and trade 4 guys too, because we're gonna end up so far over the salary cap that it wouldn't actually be possible by league rules. It's weird rules, but signing trades 4 guys that we're signing, trade, and bringing in aren't really going to be much of an option this summer.
Unless it's for CJ.
Unless it's for CJ, but even then, I mean, if we resign Norm, we'd be hard capped, Eric. Like, and we'd be above that hard cap line.
If we trade CJ, I think we have enough room possibly to make it work. It kind of depends on who it is. Obviously, a guy like Kawhi, I think the 10-year max is expected to be just under $40 million, like 39 something. But some of the younger players, it's like around 28 to 30 million. So there's quite a bit of a difference. So it just kind of depends on who the player is, I guess, and how many years of service.
We have 9 players under contract going into this offseason, making a grand total of $131.5 million. The hard cap is likely to be roughly around $140 million. If we re-sign Norman Powell, it's going to be like for $20 million, so we're going to be $11 million past that point. Plus, we have to fill out the rest of the roster. Sign-in trades aren't really a thing in this offseason. I don't think we have the room under the hard cap, but we'll address that and we'll look at things more in depth. And
just to clarify, it's 139 this year. The cap is expected to go up about $7 million or so.
I heard 3.
Huh?
I heard 3. So we'll need that total. Obviously, that'll change things. Because isn't it supposed to be $112 million next year? That's what I've seen.
Yeah, I think it's going to end up to where they didn't lose as much money as they were planning on. But yeah, that obviously is not official yet and won't be until right before free agency starts.
Still, I just don't see how it's realistically possible. Yeah. I'm surprised that this is the sides we're on in this conversation. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know, it's. Let's just say it's very unlikely. We'll address it and we'll touch on it. Obviously, there's things to be decided, like the salary cap that affects things. And that's what we'll have covered for you guys. We're CBA nerds if you're new to us. So we know the CBA and we know kind of the rules amongst that. And we'll have you covered and we'll break that type of stuff down for you heading into the offseason, what our potential options realistically are. Shout out to Martin Young for a $10 Australian dono. Says up 12 points in the third quarter. Rocco had just hit 2 back-to-back 3-pointers. He forced a Nurkic turnover, momentum high, and then Stotts took him out. Pivotal. Yeah. I mean, your season's on the line, and he's making plays and hitting shots, and you take him out, and then they go on a run. I mean, I didn't really think about it much at the time, but because we were up, but yeah, that was a very bad substitution. Subbing him out of the game. Do not agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, that's all the donos. Got through them all. Appreciate all you guys showing the support. We're going to save, like, CBA questions because I see CBA questions in chat. We'll do a stream. Obviously, we're not going to be previewing Blazer games or talking about Blazer games on our Monday, Thursday streams over on Blazers Uprise Live, so we'll talk about CBA stuff, and we'll take your questions a lot more as in regards to things with the offseason. So... make sure you go subscribe to that second channel. Anyway, Eric, what's on your mind?
Just still mad.
Yeah, I feel it. I'm just waiting for that Terry Stotts firing. When Stotts gets fired, we will go live. That is the plan. And we will celebrate.
Ethan Pettit, there is 0 chance of a Dame trade scenario, so it's just a complete waste of time. Just don't even bother. I mean, I'm going to get mad if you bring it up again because it's not happening. Dame wants to be here. He's not going to take the easy way out. If you think he's going to want to leave this situation to make it easier to win a ring or whatever, that goes against every single thing, every fiber of his character and moral being, everything he's said as a person, and I just don't like treating a person like that and just saying like, well, he's just going to change his mind all of a sudden. That's not going to happen. That guy wants to be here. He's not going to take the easy way out. He is a Portlander, and he's going to try to win here, and he's not going to demand a trade. He's not going to want out. It's not going to happen.
Yep.
And there's no chance the Blazers are just like, oh, let's just blow it up and trade Dame. Like, they're not going to do that.
No,
either.
They'll fire Stotts, and they'll maybe trade CJ. Like, that's what's going to happen if there's drastic changes. Shout out to Zach for plugging the Blazers Uprise Live link in chat for you guys to easily click that and subscribe. Yeah, Dame ain't going anywhere, and we're not going to address, like, we're not going to come up with Dame traded ideas. Like, no, that's not realistic. Like I said, we're going to come up with realistic stuff in terms of, like, covering the offseason and some of the things we could possibly do. That is not on the table. So there's no point to even discuss it. It's not going to happen.
Go Hawks. Go Hawks asks if we have the biennial exception. Technically, yes, but we're going to be over the cap, so it's we lose it anyway. So
yeah, we'll I don't know. We'll kind of help you guys like learn maybe a little bit about the CBA and that sort of stuff, the biannual exception and whatnot, as we head into the offseason. That is going to be one of our goals.
Storm Frantic 15 with a $5 donation. If it's Suns versus Nuggets in the second round, who y'all got? I say Suns in 6.
I say Suns in 5.
Yeah. The only thing that would give me pause to that is that despite Ayton being somewhat capable of guarding Jokic, they have no other person besides Ayton that can do it. So if it's much like this series and they get Ayton in foul trouble or he struggles to keep up with Jokic, Denver could maybe exploit that and steal some games. But yeah, I expect the Suns to ultimately win that series just because of the way they utilize Paul and Booker to get open shots versus allowing guys like Campazzo and Rivers to completely shut them down.
Yep. So Dwight James dropped an article talking about this probably Stotts' final game as a Portland Trail Blazer head coach. Not much substance to it, but he did say, interestingly enough, either Stotts hasn't figured out a good way to scheme defensively or the players have quit listening to him, which is like basically exactly what we've said for a while. So it was kind of interesting to read that, read a media member say that because it sounds like us. Yeah, I mean, some media members have come around and kind of realized what we've realized with this team. So I guess that's pretty cool because before I started this channel, the opinions I had about the coaching staff, I used to take so much heat for them, especially from media members and whatnot. And even when I started this channel, I took a lot of heat from media members. And now, I mean, it's obvious. Like a lot of people can't deny it anymore. And anybody that continues to deny it would defend Stotts. If Stotts just randomly didn't show up to a game, they'd defend him. And, the team would struggle and they would say, you know what, it's not about Stotts. It's about how this team isn't talented enough, So that's how it's been with some people for a while. But at least a lot of people are coming to their senses, it seems. Shout out to Antonio D, $5 donut. What do you think about CJ plus a pick for Isaac and Terrence Ross? I don't think either team does that.
But this is what I was talking about earlier. Orlando they traded Vucevic, they traded Gordon. They're obviously in rebuild mode. Why would they want to give up anyone for CJ? Like, that makes no sense. They have Fultz, who's developing. They traded for RJ Hampton, who actually played really well the last few weeks of the season for them. I think they have another guard that I'm blanking on right now.
Cole Anthony.
But yeah, Cole Anthony, who they drafted in the first round, thank you, last year, who, wasn't like great, but he showed some flashes of being a decent guard. So that's a decent 3-guard rotation that they have going forward. So yeah, they have no reason to trade for a guy like CJ and someone who's in that age group versus all the young players. I mean, they might look to trade Ross for someone, but it won't be for a guy like CJ. And then from our end, it's really hard. As much as I think Isaac would be a really good fit here, someone who has had 2 major knee injuries and missed all of this season with a knee injury, that's just really difficult for me to put my eggs in that basket, knowing our injury situation and stuff like that. With a guy like Isaac, even though I think he would be a really good get for our team, I just don't think you can take that risk.
Yep. That's the issue with CJ trades, is a rebuilding team is not going to trade for him. So if you have a trade idea with CJ going to a team that's in rebuild mode, scratch it. Orlando is a team in rebuild mode, so scratch it. The tough part is...
I guess the only exception to that is if you have a team that is absolutely desperate for picks and like we have to include like 3 firsts to get rid of his contract or whatever. But like, why would we do that? Then it becomes like pointless. Like if the Thunder wanted to add 3 more picks to their by taking on his contract or something. But yeah, like there's no incentive for a rebuilding team to do that. So.
If you have a trade idea with CJ going to a rebuilding team, just scratch it. Okay? Just scratch it. Yep. Like, this is not realistic. You know what I mean? Like, CJ to a rebuilding team is not realistic. Why would they value him? Why would they trade young assets to him? The only way is if it's a team trying to start a rebuild by trading away a better player. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's like CJ to a third team, yada, yada. Still, though, if a team is trading like a Bradley Beal, Washington, if they start a rebuild and they want to trade Bradley Beal, why would they want like CJ and 2 firsts back? They would rather have like 4 or 5 firsts or 3 firsts and 3 young players back. So that's the thing. Any trade idea with CJ going to a rebuilding team or even a team trying to start a rebuild, just scratch it, okay? That's the tough part with CJ trades is it doesn't work with him going to a rebuilding team. Good teams trying to contend are likely not going to give you a player better than CJ back for CJ. So that's the thing. If you're Portland and you're trading CJ, it's really hard to make it work unless you're trading for a lesser player than CJ and downgrading the talent. That's the tough part with CJ trades, is it's very hard to find something that makes sense for both teams where Portland's getting a better player back for CJ.
The only team I keep coming back to is the Knicks. Primarily because they have cap space to absorb his contract. The problem is I don't see them, trading Randall for him. They'd want to pair him with Randall, even though that would be like one of the weirdest pairings ever. Mm-hmm. But so then you're talking about the third team. So they have a couple of additional firsts from the Porzingis trade with Dallas. So they have the 19th and 21st picks this year, and then they have another first from Dallas down the road. And I think they have all their first as well. So, they could package some firsts and some young players, absorb CJ's contract, and then have us get a third team, which is what Torrey was going for with the Toronto Siakam trade. But yeah, unfortunately, if it's just a straight up trade with New York, I don't see really anyone on that roster that's I don't know. I mean, I guess we could take a chance on some young players, but I don't think that's necessarily the ideal fit with any players on their roster for Dame's prime situation right now. Even though I do think that you can get better with draft picks and young players and have them develop and help Dame sooner than later. I just don't think trading a bona fide 20-point-a-game scorer for one of those guys and hoping they pan out is the best way to go about it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll discuss that as we head into the offseason. Shout out Max Buckley, $2 donut. Does Derrick Jones Jr. come back if we get a new coach? I think he comes back regardless because he just wants that bag. So I'd expect him back. And if he comes back, he's a trade piece. It's 9. I would hope he opts in because that's a contract that we can trade to match salary. So it would make some more trades possible where without him, it's tough. Like you'd have to include Rocco in a lot of deals instead, which obviously wouldn't necessarily want to do. Shout Kyle Wilson, $5 donut says I'm past. What's up?
So I kind of missed part of what you said, but Derrick Jones is making $10 million next year. He's got a player option. I mean, it's going to be hard for him to give that up to sign a new contract elsewhere. So I think it's still maybe 60-40, but I expect him to come back and pick up that $10 million option and then be a free agent a year from now.
Yeah. Shout out Kyle Wilson, $5 donut says I'm past done with Stotts and I'm way past done with all our gutless media members who protect them. Time to resign Norman Beg LA for Kawhi and PG. I don't think either Kawhi and PG are realistic, but I mean that's the type of player I'd want, So not against it, just in terms of like realistic ideas. I just don't want people thinking that we can get too much back for CJ. I want people to be realistic because it seems like a lot of off seasons it becomes a situation where people expect Olshey to just be able to decide to get a lot back for CJ, to decide to trade CJ for like a PG-13 or a similar caliber player, and then when he doesn't, they blame him as if he just had the choice in the first place when he really didn't. So, I feel like that's why Olshey gets a lot of hate that isn't necessarily deserved.
Yeah.
But I agree on the media with Stotts. I'm tired of it.
And, there's... all chat wants to talk about is trade.
I mean, I that's how it goes in the offseason. I get it. I mean, yeah, like, I don't know. The end of season streams are always weird because it's like after a game, but then it's like everybody's talking about trades. Everybody's just like, how can we make this team better? And I get it, and I love trade ideas. Gotta hold off on like really going in depth on stuff. We don't even know what the cap is and whatnot.
So Kyle Wilson says it's the off season, Eric. Yeah, but the problem is we just got done saying we're not going to get a star player for CJ, and then it's all like, what about Jaylen Brown? What about Brandon Ingram? Who Torrey specifically just got done saying, like, if those are the type of guys you're thinking we're going to get for CJ, just scrap it. It's not going to happen. So yeah.
I think it's time to watch player interviews. I actually want to watch player interviews now. So.
To break this up, yeah.
Yeah. So let's do it.
Sexton and Love? Are you kidding me, XC Come on, man.
Bruh. Come on, man.
Sorry, Kyle.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get why you guys want to talk about trades. It's just, I don't know. It's like I'll say, like, they're not going to trade Ingram for CJ, and then, like, 5 people are like, well, how about we trade CJ for Ingram? It's like, I literally just said.
And people keep bringing up Zach LaVine. We'd have the same exact problems. Zach LaVine would be in the same role as CJ. I mean, they're similar types of scorers. I mean, I don't know. I almost think that's like worse. LaVine's not. I mean, he's maybe slightly better than CJ defensively, but like, I don't even know if that's necessarily the case. I mean, I just think that's a lateral move, and you're just trading to make a trade in that point, and I don't understand why the Bulls would do that or why we do that. It's just weird.
Yep. The only interview up is Nurkic's. Let me thank Scott Bossy's $13.99 Canadian dollar donation. Says Raptors fans started watching Portland games following Powell. On the Raps, he would score most of his points in transition or spot up threes, not in Portland. Why does this team focus on half-court offense? I assume you mean, like, why don't they run more? I mean, that's been a question of mine, too, because you got guys that can run. You got guys that can handle the ball. I mean, Norm, CJ, and Dame all are a threat in transition. Like, I don't get it. This team plays really slow at times and slows it down and will take 8 seconds just to cross half-court, and then we'll kind of stand around for another 6 and then run a pick and roll, and that's their offense. And it doesn't work in the playoffs.
And the times we had success in the series, what were we doing? We were pushing it up to Norm, and he was getting a full head of steam to the basket and scoring on someone who wasn't getting back in time, or he'd get mismatched on a slow-footed wing, and he'd blow right by him. And those were the times we had success in this series. Drives us crazy that we rely so much on the half-court offense, and then our half-court offense is just ISO anyway, so, like, why not push the tempo and maybe get a mismatch without having to set a pick and roll or whatever. And then also the spot up shooting drives me absolutely bonkers. We have Dame would be an elite spot up shooter. CJ is a good spot up catch and shoot 3-point shooter. Norm is one of the best corner 3-point shooters in the league. Anthony Simon shot 42% from 3. We've seen Melo have success used as a spot up catch and shoot 3-point shooter. That, I mean, it was 5 or 6 guys I've listed so far. I mean, I could keep going, but like, I mean, Trent, when he was here, was a good spot up shooter when he was open. So there's no reason. So we go into the season like, let's just shoot as many threes as possible. But there's no plan to, like, get us good looks from 3 or, like, get us an offense that generates an open corner 3 or things like that outside of just drive and kicking. So that's just another reason why our coaching staff is completely dumb. They just like think, oh, we just need to shoot threes or whatever, or we need to run drop schemes so that we force the other team into long 2s, and then they just give up 3s anyway and don't contest it. And it's just there's so many contradictions, and you can't just decide to shoot more 3s. You have to generate a way to get better 3s and utilize the catch and shoot ability of your personnel. And that's why I don't blame the personnel for anything that's happened this season. I believe if it was used correctly, this team and this offense was literally unstoppable, and it pisses me off that we didn't get a chance to see it under a better condition, and now people just want to tear it all down.
Yep. Let me take care of somebody in chat. For some reason, I can't ban them, and moderators accidentally showed a comment that they shouldn't have. And I got the Nurk thing ready to go. Let me just try and get this stream up on a different page because my moderation is glitching.
So while you're doing that, so I have a Nurkic like utilization, or like, you know, those plays when he gets the ball. Do you want me to save it knowing some of the stuff he says for afterwards when he comments, or do you want me to bring it up now?
I mean, we're about to watch his interview, so I mean, whatever you think.
All right, I'll talk about it when we answer it, or when he answers that question.
Yep. XC Dep, next time you talk to us like that, it's a permaban. Let's pull up the interview. Stotts and Nurkic are the only ones that are listed, so probably the only ones we're gonna watch. Where's it at? Right here. Cool. So you got Yusuf Nurkic after this game. And they're going to play an ad on the start. You know how we come for nothing now. Got my phone. All right, here we go.
But through Nurk, obviously a tough way to end your guys' season, but through the ups and downs of this year, how would you describe Damian Lillard's leadership and how it impacted your team even when things might not have been going your way?
It's voted to be the best one. So describe is hard because you do so many things and you can't even describe for the just in a human being standpoint. As far as on a court, you always, bring us together no matter what is result of the game. Like I said, it sucks to finish the way we finished, but as far as him, I don't know if I'm ever going to be with a player like that, but it's just, I'm never going to take for greatness, friendship, and who he is as a player.
Jason Quick, The Athletic. Nurk, why do you feel like you guys are not advancing?
I don't know, man. I'm pretty much heated. I don't want to, I never in my life, never threw under the bus nobody. So I don't want to point the finger. There's people who look in there and going to answer those questions about me. I think one of the reasons they just, outplayed us. I give them credit. Nuggets, they have a hell of a season. Obviously, the series, they have a hell of a games, and they deserve to go on.
What do you need to do next year to come back better?
I don't know what I need to do. I got a non-guaranteed contract. I don't know if I'm going to be back, right? So I'm going to leave that to Rich Paul, my agent. We'll see what's going to happen. As far as right now, I'm just going to get away from basketball and see, what my next step should be. We'll see what's going to happen. I'm not sure if I'm coming back or what the team direction is, and we'll look at that later.
AJ McCord, Coin.
Nurk, thinking about this game in particular and this series, what's the most frustrating part about it ending tonight?
Like I said in the beginning of the year, I wish my role was bigger. I think I could help even more. But, like I said, I was really respectful and tried to do what they asked from me, specifically the coach and what they have for me. Like I said, it's hard. It's hard when you have one of the best players ever to play this game, and sometimes just feel not enough. And I think we are better. I thought we was better team than we are showing. So.
All right. Yeah. He obviously doesn't like Stoss.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can argue that. And we kind of knew that, but it wasn't like 100%. Now I feel like you can say it with 100% certainty. He's sitting here saying, I tried to be respectful and just do what the coaching staff asked of me, but I felt like I needed a bigger role this season, and we're a better team. We're a more talented team than we showed. I feel like that's basically what he's saying. And that's basically what I've said. That's what you've said. That's what a lot of people have said. So.
And we both feel like he could be utilized more as a playmaker and as someone to set up the offense, much like Jokic is with Denver. Obviously, he's not as talented. Jokic is a much better dribbler and driver to the basket, so he can't play exactly like that. But, running the offense through him, having off-ball action, freeing Dame up to come off screens off ball and stuff like that would absolutely open up this offense and would be a welcome move by any new coach.
Yep. So I want to see Nurkic under a new coach next year. That is my dream. A coach that utilizes him more than he's utilized. I feel like he should be a guy getting 18, 12, and 6.
Christos Salta, Sport DNA.
Yep.
Yusuf, did you see steps forward for your team this season? And what did you say about the way that you fought in that series, in the whole series?
Like I said, I don't know what future stands for me or for the team in this team. So as far as series, like I said, they outplay us. They definitely deserve to go on in the next round. And, sometimes just life, it is like that.
James Hill, BNC Sports.
Hey, Nurk, when you look at tonight's game, not the outcome you want, but going forward, it's a lot to be proud about. You guys can come back and continue to compete at the highest level with the greatest players in the world playing.
Has this dude not listened to this entire post-game press conference?
Guess not.
Like, not only is he just doing the soft, lot to be proud of, but he's also saying next year you can come back. Nurk already literally said, I don't know if I'm coming back. Now, the thing is, Nurk isn't in control of whether or not he comes back. That's the team, so he will be back unless he's traded. They're going to guarantee his next year of his contract. I think this is just him making a statement, like changes need to be made. I think that's exactly what he's saying. It's just like this reporter apparently hasn't listened to this press conference. I don't know. My goodness, man. Who is this guy? Let me play it back. I'm kind of curious.
Real quick, because a lot of people are asking. So Nurk's contract is non-guaranteed, which is basically like a team option. So we can choose to bring him back. It's about $12.5 million. I don't think there's any way we cut him. So we can waive him, but I believe we owe him like $4 million to go away. So you're basically saying he's not worth $8 million next year if you want to cut him. So there's no chance we're cutting him unless something just really bad happens. But
there's no way we're cutting him.
Yeah. So he's absolutely coming back. But yeah, so it's about $12 million next season. Nurk's just saying that because technically what he's saying is true. But yeah, and I get a sense he's not feeling very loved. He's probably maybe even wants to get cut, maybe, and sign a bigger contract or whatever. But he's just gonna have to wait a year for that because they're just gonna bring him back.
Yep.
When you look at tonight's game,
If it is like that.
James Hill, BNC Sports.
James Hill. Yeah, never heard of him.
hey, Nurk, when you look at tonight's game, not the outcome you want, but going forward, it's a lot to be proud about. You guys can come back and continue to compete at the highest level with the greatest players in the world playing basketball, and you have one as your teammate. Just talk about the Blazer way and the mentality going forward.
It's hard, man. It's hard, like I said, this season is probably the most difficult season we ever played as far as COVID and like you said, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of things to be proud. But I think it's really hard to talk about what's the future going to stand for anybody. Like I said, in my mind, it's my 7th year in the league and try to be, bigger for the team. Any type of role I was accepting from the coach, anybody. But it's really hard for me to speak about the future. It's just all type of feelings going through my head right now. But I'm going to take a couple of days off and talk to my agent, see what's there for, or what's going to be next.
Jamie Hudson, NBC Sports Northwest.
Nurk, reflecting on the season, I mean, you mentioned COVID and how difficult it was and the ups and downs, but obviously the injuries as well. Just how would you describe the season overall?
I think we have a hell of a season as far as a team, where we was and what situation we was, and with CJ and myself going down, I think the team responded really. I think no one expected to respond the way we responded, and how many people step up through the season. I might be the best. This might be the best group of people I've been around as far as teammates. But at the same time, it was not enough. A lot of things it looks like and feel like going to be a change. So that's on people above to do it.
Coming back to Jason Quick with The Athletic.
Nurk, you kind of just hit on it, and you've mentioned a lot about your uncertain future and the uncertain future of the team. Did it feel like that in the locker room afterward?
I'm not necessarily saying in the locker room, but I feel like personally in my head, the way I feel. And like I said, it's, there's still not like a lot of time you're not spending in the locker room to see how, people really feel. But I guess we will know in a few couple of days what's going to really happen. And summer is or wherever, fall, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be interesting to see. But like I said, it's just a bad taste in the mouth. Let's put it that way.
But I guess what I'm asking is what gives you that feeling that change is on the horizon?
I mean, what else cannot do it, because we are exit first round with the team we have. Expectations are way, way bigger than that. And that's the number one reason and the biggest reason you have to look at the situation what it is. And like I said, it's difficult right now because everybody's probably in a heated spot, and everybody mind's working 1,000-mile hours. But people are going to be looking at the situation the right way from the colder spot, I guess.
Final questions coming from Mike Richmond with Locked On Sports.
Nurk, do you want to be back next year? Like, do you want to be back on this team next season?
In right situation, yes.
What is the right situation?
We'll see. I don't know yet. This is not it.
This is not it. I love that. Nurk's always the guy we can trust to say his mind, to not sugarcoat things. And I love it. Anyway. Thoughts on his...
Awesome.
Thoughts on his...
Yeah, I mean, it's a little depressing with just, hearing him... I don't know. I guess you could take it like he's not even sure if he wants to be back, but I think that has a lot to do with the way we play. And if we did play a better brand of basketball, more team-friendly, more aggressive style of defense, I think he would thrive in that, and I think he knows that. He's mentioned it actually in press conferences this year, how selfish we play, how the ball doesn't move, how he had to take it upon himself to be the only person that passed when he came back from injury, and he noticed that on the bench. He noticed the lack of effort from the team in stretches of the season. It's I feel like he's saying the things that need to change, and I'm hoping that someone like that in his position saying them forces those changes to occur and to bring in someone who fits the mold of the situation he thinks it should be, versus us getting rid of him too, which would also be a possibility, I guess. So yeah.
Yep.
So I hope it's not that route. I mean, because we completely agree with him that we need to be changed to the way Nurkic believes we need to be changed to. So it would be frustrating if we went a different route and didn't utilize Nurk as part of that future by not doing that. Because even if we didn't have Nurk, I still feel like we have to have a coach that does those things.
Yeah. Let me thank the dono. I promise I'd thank right after the interview. Shout out to Pirate Roberts for a $20 dono. Says, great coverage all year long. I would have checked out of this season a long time ago without your breakdowns keeping me sane. Thanks for the grind. It was a rough year. And that's what we're here for. As a therapy session in chat, even though a couple regulars are getting a little too toxic. You know, we're here to be fans that know the game that y'all can relate to while also getting analysis that's a little bit more in depth. So I always like hearing comments like that you know, we help people through the down times of the season, and wish we could celebrate more highs hopefully next year. That would be awesome. So you know, that's kind of fingers crossed for next year we're able to celebrate a bit more than we were able to celebrate this season, because it would be nice to not have to be a therapy session where we're just dealing with the lows. You know, I want to experience some highs with you guys. Like that would be dope. So
like us winning that 55-point game from Damian Lillard, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, that would have been amazing. That would have been amazing.
I just want to say this. So I really appreciate the comments. Thank you for the donation stuff. And thank you. I've heard several or read several comments in chat from people echoing those same things. Really appreciate it. We're not trying to do this to have you guys thank us, or I'm not asking for thank yous or whatever. But the bottom line is, I mean, we had a lot of games this year in a short amount of time. And Tori and I have come on this show, had every post-game show for almost 2 hours. We've done multiple other shows throughout the year. This is all free. You guys don't have to donate. You don't have to do anything. We're literally just sitting here talking basketball, and you guys can watch us if you want. If you don't like us, completely fine. But to come into our chat and tell us we should be traded for Aaron Fentress and we're douchebags and stuff like that, you guys that's just despicable behavior, and just get the hell out of here. Go watch something else. We're not going to stand for that. Mm-hmm. I don't want you guys to thank me. Thank you for everyone saying thank you, but just don't come into our chat and be disrespectful to us. We're providing free analysis for you, and you guys don't have to like us. You can say we're stupid and you don't agree with our opinions, whatever, that's fine. But to come in here and act like we're doing some disservice by having a show, that's just completely ridiculous, and go away. You don't even deserve to be watching our show then.
Yeah. You can go find Aaron Fentress somewhere else if that's really what you want.
I'm sure he'll engage with you on Twitter if you want.
Yeah. I don't know. I think somebody had an issue with just kind of it's I'll say we're not going to be able to trade CJ for Brandon Ingram. That's not realistic. And then it'll be a minute later, somebody will say it, and it's just kind of I literally just touched on it. So I don't know. I always try and I echo everything Eric said and appreciate how great this community is. Apologies if I maybe rolled my eyes at somebody saying CJ for Ingram literally a minute after I said that's not realistic, and I don't really want to talk about that type of stuff yet. I'm obviously not in the best mood right now after this game, so I mean, if somebody's mad that I rolled my eyes at that, okay, fine. But it's also I don't know. I feel sometimes I'll say something like that and people will specifically bring it up literally 30 seconds to a minute later, or don't even listen to what I said. So I think that's kind of what somebody had an issue with. But if you have an issue with it, talk to me respectfully. I will talk to you respectively. You can DM me and maybe be respectful and tell me that you didn't like it, and I'd probably apologize. You know what I mean? But don't come in here and disrespect me or disrespect Eric or talk trash or be toxic, because we don't play that. That's just going to end up with you being permabanned. So, we don't put up with that type of stuff. So, and the thing is, we give people a lot of chances. I literally gave him a 5-minute timeout saying, don't be disrespectful, don't talk like that, and he comes back just as toxic and disrespectful. So We appreciate all of you guys that are very supportive, because it means a lot, and it gets us through, gets us through this season, and this community is awesome. And I'm grateful to be able to have this channel. This channel wouldn't be anything without the community behind it, and the community behind it is awesome, man. I talk to like other people that do YouTube, and it's just like, I'll literally tell them, I'll be like, man, our community is phenomenal, and I don't even know how we got such a phenomenal community. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are phenomenal. You guys are great. This community is awesome. So, and sometimes I sit back and just like, wow, I don't know how we got such a great community behind this channel. But I definitely appreciate it, and appreciate all of you that have tuned in throughout the season and made us a part of your year. A part of your year, and we will continue to plug on into the off season, full steam ahead.
Yeah, and for the record, I actually like people who don't agree with us as long as they're respectful. One of the most respected people in chat, he hasn't been in here much this season, but last season we got into several deep conversations with Jake Carey, and he actually likes Stotts, and he kind of looks at the game from a scouting perspective and disagrees with what we see on there, and we had several respectful conversations, and that to me is fun. I like having differing opinions. Tori and I got into it, that was before game 4, I think it was, with the Melo Rocco thing, defending Jokic or whatever, and that was fun to have like a respectful discussion, disagreement or whatever. So like, I have no problem with people if you want to like talk about different topics or do different things. And like Tori said, if you have a problem with something we say about something you said, then I have no problem talking to you privately about that. I've actually, conversated several times with people through DMs that we just had the wrong impression off of something either I said or something they said in chat. And then, like, since then, we've all been, like, great. We've had great discussions through DMs or whatever. So it's not about, like, having differing opinions. I welcome people who want to disagree with us. Just don't come on our show and disrespect us for having a show. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yep. But, I mean, that's what's cool about us, is it's coverage that you can get anywhere in the world, too. I mean, local coverage you can't get anywhere in the world. So, and it's free, no commercials. Like, we try and study the game and study the CBA and know what we're talking about and take this seriously, and then also try and be entertaining on top of it. So I'm proud of what we've done this season. I'm proud of what we've built, and you guys are a big part of that. Let me thank the rest of the donos. Shout out Tom Fisher for a $10 dono. Said, been a great season with you too. Thank you, Tom. Good to hear from you, man. Hope everything is well with you. Shout out Mike B, $5 dono. He says, I'm done with Canner. We need an athletic defensive center. Putting only Nurkic and then Rocco at small ball 5 isn't a lazy excuse for front court defense. And I'm down for Zach Collins to be the backup 5 next year. Rim protecting stretch 5 that can defend on the perimeter as well. Like, that's kind of the type of backup center we need. Canner was good for us this season. Had some great moments. But we need a defensive big man off the bench so that if you go up against a Nikola Jokic, you're not screwed if Nurkic gets some foul trouble, because Nurkic is definitely prone to that. So we need another big defender. That's not why we lost this series, and we didn't do the right things when we had a Rocco on him. We put Canner on him, which I thought wasn't the answer. It's like when you can't have Nurkic on him, you got to figure out good ways to double team him or show him multiple bodies, and it's like we didn't even try and do that. So it's not just a personnel issue there, but yeah, I want a defensive backup center next year.
Yeah, I agree. And it's unfortunate. I mean, people talk about roster construction, but Collins had earned the starting power forward job 2 years ago. Goes down in the third game, misses what would have been the whole season if not for the bubble, but then gets hurt in the bubble. But he was going to be like our defensive specialist, at least until Nurk gets back, and then we're shorthanded. And then this year we finally get Nurk back, and Zach's supposed to be back a few weeks into the season, and then he re-injures his foot again. It's hard when you're setting up a team, knowing that that's your defensive big backup, or possibly even back into starting power forward and moving Rocco to small forward or whatever, and then losing him for the full season again. That's just not something you can plan on when you set up a team. And I thought Olshey did a good job this year of, providing a backup in Cantor and getting what he could with that trade exception and Mario Hezonja, and then also bringing in a Giles who could have theoretically maybe helped in some of those situations. I just don't feel like those players were utilized properly, and it's a shame that Collins. I mean, it's crazy to think about because he's not good enough to say he would change our course of contention or whatever, but he really is important to that whole statement of needing a defensive center. Like, if he would have been healthy at all these past 2 seasons, I think we're talking about a completely different story in terms of what our ability to defend a player like Jokic or someone like that in a playoff series is.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to, obviously it would have been helpful to have Collins, but it goes far, far deeper than that at the same time. And hopefully that'll get fixed this year, and hopefully we'll have Collins back next year. He is a restricted free agent, but given his injury status, we should be able to bring him back on a very cheap contract, where if he's still injured or something, it's not a big deal. We signed him for cheap, and if he's able to play, he's a steal. So, it's a pretty solid situation going into next season with him, considering he's a restricted free agent, likely going to take the qualifying offer, which is around $5 million. So
I think it's 7.6.
Is it 7.6? I thought it was his cap. I thought it was 5.5. But I mean, we'll get more.
That's what he
information
made
on
this
that.
year, I think.
Yeah. It might have been. But still, $7 million for that when we're already over the cap anyway doesn't take anything away from us. Doesn't hurt us. Is a contract that's tradable that can be used to match salary. Even if he doesn't play, it could be helpful to have his salary on the books in order to make a trade work. And if he's able to play, he could be a bargain at that contract. I mean, it's not easy to find a stretch 5 rim protector. Okay, they're coveted across the league. And hate as much as you want on Zach, but he's a 7-foot center that can shoot threes, can protect the rim, play defense as a center, but then also has the foot speed to play the 4 and defend a little bit on the perimeter. That is extremely hard to find. So I know a lot of people in here might not disagree or might not agree with my take on Zach Collins, but I think we're in a good situation heading into next year with him as one of our backup big spots. Because that's the thing, you can play him at the 4 and you can go out and get a backup 5 and it's fine, or you can play with the 5 and go out and get a backup 4. So next we'll talk about that more on other streams as we head into the off season.
And I've seen several questions about are we going to stream again in the off season?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Blazers Uprise Live, our second channel, every Monday and Thursday night, we'll have a show. We'll talk about, until the playoffs are over, we'll probably talk a lot about the playoffs. We'll talk a little bit each night about what the happenings are with the Blazers. If there's any big news for the Blazers, we'll go live as soon as possible. That includes if they fire their coach, if they make a trade, if they sign someone. But those days, like free agency stream, we will do a stream that entire day and talk about all the signings around the league. We do a draft stream, live stream the draft. So yeah, we have 2 of our bigger streams of the season. And then last year we had the Rocco trade stream, which was, I think, maybe our biggest stream ever. So yeah, those kind of things are going to happen all off season. It'll at very minimum be live twice a week talking about it. And then we'll also get back into doing some videos this summer. I'm in the process of, filming and editing and stuff. My, Blazer breakdown for the off season. I'll talk about who the free agents are, what we could pay them, what our cap situation is, all that stuff. So you guys will have that all in one easy video to look at and try to learn about our situation.
Yeah, there will be videos throughout the off season. We haven't really done much for videos. Just the season was a little bit more intense, just a ton of streaming. As we head into the off season, this channel is going to become those special streams that Eric said, and then videos. So, mailbags, try and get them back to weekly, as on top of other stuff, standalone stuff like Eric's off-season breakdown, as well as, maybe some taxpayer mid-level exception targets, just stuff that I did last off-season. So be prepared for videos and whatnot, and our streams will be on our second channel, which I've plugged in chat. It's top of the description below. Mondays and Thursday nights, going live around 9:30 p.m. Pacific time, and we can recap the playoff games that day, kind of the playoff situation. This is a very entertaining playoffs. Right now, you got Phoenix up 14, 94-80 over the Lakers with 9 minutes left, so we'll see if they can pull that game out. But yeah, that's the plan for the offseason. Let me think a couple more donos. Shout out Elias, $5 dono, said, finally made it home from the game, had to hit the bar, but damn, what a poor refereed and coached game. I agree. I thought the refs were pretty bad, but it's no excuse. The coaching was absolutely horrific during the fourth quarter.
What's up, Elias? I haven't seen him around much this year.
Good to see you, Elias. And then shout out Mills Woj, $5 dono. When can teams start trading? Eric, CBA expert, what you got?
So, in normal seasons, once you're eliminated from the playoffs, technically the Blazers would then be able to trade right now. I don't know. I haven't seen anything about the rules being different. This whole season's been different in terms of dates and times you can do stuff. So it might be that there's a set date. I saw someone in chat earlier say August 6th. That is the start of the new league year after the moratorium, but the draft is before that, so there'll obviously be trades and stuff during the draft and before that. So, so technically I think they can start talking to teams about trades starting right now. It's just anyone who's a free agent, you're not allowed to talk about trades until free agency begins on August 2nd. So yeah, that's what happened with Milwaukee and Sacramento last year. They actually agreed to a sign and trade before even contacting the free agent or it was time to be able to, and that trade got blown up. And then Milwaukee got fined. I believe they lost a second round pick or something for doing that. But yeah, so technically I think they can start talking trades right now.
Yeah, but I'd expect action to pick up mid-July, around the draft. Yeah.
And for the record, even though most teams can talk trades once they're eliminated, it's usually until after the finals happen where actual trades happen. Occasionally there'll be a trade prior to that, but you can't talk to the teams who aren't eliminated, so you kind of as of right now, you're not able to talk to some of the teams. So if there's a third team you want to get involved, or if you want to find out if there's a better offer or something could happen with another team, say Milwaukee gets swept in the second round and blows it up or something, teams like to wait until they have all the information first.
Yep, and there's no reason not to wait. So, but yeah. So Suns are currently up 12, 7.5 left in the fourth. They've shot more free throws than the Lakers, so anybody that says that it was going to be rigged for the Lakers, the Suns have shot 20 free throws, the Lakers have shot 14. Anthony Davis played in this game, Eric. Played 5 minutes, exited, he re-injured his groin. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? That's what was going to happen. That's a groin injury. You normally don't miss a game from a groin injury, an important game that you'd normally try and play if you could. You don't normally miss a game and then you're fine to go, because that's a very sensitive injury. So I'm surprised they threw him out there. They shouldn't have. I thought that was a mistake, and obviously he was not ready to go. You got Dennis Schroeder taking Lakers out of his bio, so it seems like he's out of there. I mean, if there is something positive to take from tonight, by the way, Suns just went on a little mini run. They're now up 17 with 6 minutes, 40 seconds left. If there is one positive thing to take from tonight, it's that the Lakers are crumbling right now. And it seems like they're about to be eliminated in Game 6, just like we were tonight. So shout out to the Suns. Happy for those guys. Looking like a Suns-Nuggets second round. We will try and do some collaborative stuff with the Valley podcast for the people that asked. Now that we're eliminated, we'll focus on their series, and I'll be rooting for them. I'll be rooting for the Suns. It'd be cool to see Chris Paul. For as much as I dislike him as a player, it'd be cool to kind of see him go, get a chance to win a ring, and the Valley Podcast guys, those are good friends of ours, so would be happy for them as well. But the Western Conference playoffs are very interesting still, so I'll still be paying attention. It's not like we get eliminated and then watch the Lakers just dominate their way to a ring, or the Warriors. It's a lot of cool teams that haven't been there before, you know, and hopefully that's us next year. Sadly, it couldn't be us this year. But still, you know, for those teams that aren't like an LA team, a Lakers team, a Clippers team, the Golden State Warriors, it's cool to see them have success. And if the Clippers lose as well, you're looking at Denver, Phoenix, Dallas, or Utah in the NBA Finals. I mean, that's pretty cool.
So weird.
Yeah. So, happy with the parity in the West, even though it didn't work out for the Blazers.
And also, there has been a lot of success for first-year coaches in terms of winning championships in the last, since Steve Kerr. So you got Kerr, Nurse, Vogel, Tyronn Lue. So yeah, of all the teams that have won their first title in recent years, it has all been with a first-year coach. Not saying that's like a given or anything like that, but that does give you some optimism that there's a pattern here of a good team switching their coach to someone new and maybe making a few changes, and voila, you have a possible championship roster.
Yep. And it's not all doom and gloom. Next year, with a good coach, with the right hire, maybe the right personnel moves, I think we have as good of a chance. I could see this team next year, if they make the right moves this offseason, being like Utah was this year. I mean, nobody expected Utah to be the 1 seed, and they dominated. Absolutely dominated. I think that could be us next season. So, I don't think it's like everybody's like sky's falling, season's over, collapse, all that type of stuff. I don't disagree with that stuff, but looking forward, for everybody freaking out, oh, Dame gonna free Dame, or is Dame gonna leave, and all this and all that, I think it's actually looking pretty bright. I said at one point, it might be the best chance to win Dame a ring might be to lose in the first round this year, because I don't see how the Blazers were going to get it done with Terry Stotts as the head coach. I didn't see how the Blazers were ever going to win a ring with Terry Stotts as the head coach. Losing in the first round pretty much guarantees that he's gone. So it might give us losing tonight, as twisted as it is, as weird as it may sound, losing tonight might have given ourselves a better chance to win a ring with Damian Lillard. Not a good chance, it's still small, sadly, but a better chance.
Trevin with the RIP Blevins NBA career. Oh, that's funny.
Do we think the right coach attracts a good player to bring alongside Dame? I don't think a player's coming here because of the coach. So, yeah. Anyway,
I guess there's maybe if we somehow got, I honestly think, I don't think this is going to happen, but I think the Blazers will call San Antonio and see if Pop is interested.
Yeah, I'd be down.
I have a feeling they're going to go for, they'll probably have to settle on, some of the names we've mentioned with the assistant coach route or whatever. But I think they're going to call around the league for a coach with championship experience, whether that's Nurse, Popovich, Spoelstra, some of these teams that, the Raptors didn't make the playoffs this year. Spurs didn't make the playoffs this year. Heat get bounced in 4. I'm not saying any of those are going to happen. I just think that Portland is going to try hard to lure one of those guys, or maybe convince one of those teams to trade us. We might even give up a future first for that to happen.
Shoot for the moon.
Huh?
Shoot for the moon.
Yep. So I think that's what their first step will be. Their first plan will be just if you call Pop, I mean, the worst he can say is no, I'm not leaving San Antonio. But he's at the end of his career. They're likely going to be losing DeRozan this offseason and are going to be full on rebuild mode. I mean, he might want to stay there and be part of that or retire soon. But if you can convince him, hey, we got Damian, he's got a few years left. You probably only want to coach for a couple of years. What do you think about coming here? So I would definitely make the call and see if there's any chance. Yeah, like I said, the worst thing I can say is no, and I don't expect him to be our coach next year. I'm just saying that's the first thing I would do after Stotts is let go.
Yeah, there's no reason not to try. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing. The worst thing I can say is no, or Pop says I'm staying. Like, okay, cool. That's like what you should expect, but it's not a reason not to try.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with that.
Because all the other names will still be there after you get turned down for those, so you might as well.
That's why we need to fire Stotts, like, early.
Yeah.
So that we can start doing that, you know? So that we can kind of start going after maybe some of those names, and then if they say no, we can fall back on a pool of candidates. I don't want to wait until we're in the middle of the offseason to do it, and then maybe candidates that would have been available aren't. So, Lakers only down 11, 4 minutes left. Anything Crowder hits a 3, they go up 14.
Nice.
Anything left you want to say about this game, this season, this stream?
Yeah, this is going to sound kind of weird putting this here, but I wanted to mention this earlier, and then we did the Nurk interview, but for the life of me, I cannot figure out when we pass the ball to Nurk near the free throw line, there is never anyone cutting baseline to the basket. There's never anyone standing under the hoop. If you have Dame double teamed, he passes to Nurk. You have CJ in one corner, Norm in the other corner, and whether it's Rocco or DJ or Nas or throw in Cantor, I mean, I don't care. Whoever it is, whoever's in the game, just go run and stand by the basket. They have 3 guys to guard 4 players. The problem we have is Nurk he doesn't have anyone to pass to there, so he's forced to dribble and try to go around a guard, and it's led to several offensive fouls in this series. And that's not his game, is trying to like maneuver around a guy and then he finishes weird or has to like throw up one of those little flip shots or whatever to try and avoid contact so he doesn't get an offensive foul. In that situation, that's the kind of thing I think Nurk's referring to, is if you have Derek Jones in the game and he's just standing under the basket, all Nurk would have to do in that situation is lob it up to him or pass it to him, and we get an easy 2 every time. This is what the Warriors do with Draymond Green when Steph Curry gets a lot of attention. They have Klay Thompson in one corner and another shooter in the other corner, and they have Kevon Looney just standing around the rim. So Draymond Green gets the ball, attacks the one defender that's there. If he comes at him, he just lobs it up and passes to Looney for a lay-in. If he doesn't come to him, Draymond just goes to the basket and lays it in. If one of the defenders from the corners sags off, he just drives and then kicks it out to the corner for a wide open 3. And it's so simple, yet it's puzzling how we did not even like exploit that at all. How many times in this series or throughout the last few years has Nurk caught the ball in that situation? And if we had a cutter or something, it would have been an easy 2-point basket. And instead, we just like make the offense so much harder on ourselves. And I think that's one of the ways we could utilize Nurk's passing ability and make him more closer to a Jokic or a Draymond Green than just someone who has to like literally just stand there and hope someone cuts and then maybe gets an assist, you know?
Yep. And hopefully with a better coach, we run better offensive action because our offense is crap. People want me to watch the Dame interview. We're 2 hours in. I'm just, I'm sorry. I just am not in the mood. I don't know. Shout out to Luke Lindikoff, $3 donor. Says, turns out you guys were right about the DJ signing. Yeah, and we were wrong to. I mean, we blamed Olshey for it at the time, but I mean, I blame Stotts for it now. You know, Stotts did not utilize him properly, and that didn't play him at all. Like, Derek Jones had a better season than should have been expected. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why Hollis Jefferson ends up playing over him. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of sick. I'm mad that the narrative has been like, oh, Derek Jones must have an attitude problem, or he obviously isn't putting the effort to get minutes or whatever. No, he just doesn't fit in Stott's system. Everyone knew Stott's system was crap. everyone, including Stotts himself and Olshey and everyone on this team, knew they had to change the system going into this year. And that's why we're mad about the Derrick Jones signing. Mm-hmm. And then Derrick Jones Jr. actually played well for a stretch, despite being limited in the offense or whatever and not utilizing him properly. And then he gets benched, and then everyone's like, see, what a horrible signing, blah, blah, blah. Even though we were right about it, it doesn't make me feel good because based on all their comments, we should have been wrong about that because it should have led to them changing their system. And the only reason why we ended up being right is because Stotts didn't change crap. He did not change a single thing about what he does or how he approaches defense or how he approaches offense and stuff like that. And so it made that Derrick Jones Jr. signing terrible, and that's why we knew if Stotts didn't change, that signing would be absolutely brutal for our team. It was like just completely wrong. And we got excited when they said they were going to change stuff around, and they had to do different schemes. But it's just ridiculous to blame Derrick Jones for that. This is 100% on Coach Stotts. He did not change the necessary things to get us to a point where we would not get our butts kicked by a freaking injured Denver team in the playoffs. And it's because of people like Derrick Jones Jr. We signed him to play a different style so this exact thing would not happen. And instead of Stotts changing it, he just benches Derrick Jones like he's the effing problem. And it's ridiculous coaching. Just absolutely brutally bad. This is one of the worst coaching years in the history of basketball. I know I'm doing my Bill Walton impression right now, but this guy, he told all of us at the beginning of the year he needed to change all these things. And he did not do a single one of the things he said he absolutely had to do to take that next step this year. It's 100% on Coach Stotts. Anyone that tells you differently is just trying to come up with a reason why they have been wrong with their analysis of Coach Stotts for so many years. And if you keep listening to those people, they're just going to make excuse after excuse why it's someone else's fault. This is 100% on Stotts.
Yep. I mean, we were right all along. I mean, you said that too well. I literally have nothing to add to that. That's facts. That's facts. So, we already listened to Stotts. I don't really want to watch a Stotts interview. Sorry, I'm just not down for interviews. I'm just mentally exhausted. This team mentally exhausted me. And I'm just kind of meh right now.
I'll sum up the Stotts interview. Okay, so first of all, he gave credit to Denver, which I want to do that too. Denver outplayed us. They outcoached us. They outplayed us. They wanted it more. They were more aggressive. The more aggressive team basically won every quarter area that they were aggressive in, and their role players stepped up and. Jokic had a great series. They absolutely deserve to win this series. But so he praised them, and then he basically blamed everything other than himself, took no accountability, didn't want to talk about the offseason, didn't want to talk about anything else. Was asked about his job security. He said he has 2 years left, and that as far as he knows, he's under contract until he's not, and that was it. Yeah, that was his interview.
Yeah, proud of the season and disappointed.
Yeah, he's proud of him.
Yeah, so that was the Stotts interview. Shop Gordon, $3 Singapore dollar donation. He says Derrick Jones Jr. essentially became a scapegoat like E.T. Yeah, I mean, Stotts just parks him in the corner on offense, then wonders why it's not a good fit. Like, I don't know. Yeah, the Derrick Jones Jr. situation was just ridiculous, and I was mad at it. And what's the first thing I said? I said he's a terrible fit here, man. And now it's kind of like a meme in the circle. Like, it's kind of become a meme. And I had the hat throw. I can't land it, bro. I actually landed the hat throw. And I said, Derrick Jones Jr., he's a terrible fit here, man. I was right. He's a terrible fit in Stotts' system. We've seen it. And Stotts obviously thought the same thing. And he can't change his system to incorporate a guy like that. And that's on Stotts. And that's why we need a new head coach.
Yeah, and
I got to
there's a discussion about Evan Turner in the chat. So that was a bad signing. We way overpaid him. We shouldn't have signed him. But for the record, E.T. was a better playmaker in Boston than Aaron Gordon was, and everyone who drooled all over Aaron Gordon as being this answer to all our problems or whatever, Evan Turner was better in Boston than Aaron Gordon was this year in Orlando. And he came here, and we did nothing to utilize any of the thing that made him a good player in Boston. We just made him like an off-ball or like an occasional post-up threat or whatever. And it was just a complete disservice to him. And yeah, I mean, I didn't like the signing because I knew it would turn out that way, just like the Derrick Jones thing. But I still feel like that could have turned out a lot better if we utilized him more. And then now we complain, oh, we don't have anyone that can pass. Well, he was a great passer on Boston. He averaged almost 5 assists a game, I believe, the season before he came here, and had a good assist percentage, low turnovers. That guy could absolutely run an offense or be free Dame up to play off ball, and we didn't utilize that at all.
Yep. So LeBron is going to lose in the first round. The garbage players are in. 20 seconds left. Phoenix going to wind out the rest of the clock. LeBron has lost in the first round for the first time in his NBA career. So shout out to the Phoenix Suns for knocking off the Los Angeles Lakers. You had Devin Booker and LeBron James and a bunch of people barking at the end. Devin Booker was talking some trash.
Nice.
And I love it. I love it. So Lakers fall as well. Hallelujah. Screw that franchise. So you got Denver and Phoenix in the second round. Go Suns. Hopefully the Suns can take care of the Nuggets. So anyway, anything left to say for this one, Eric?
No, just thank you everyone who have been watching all year. We really appreciate you guys. It's been a lot of fun. The fun doesn't end. Hopefully this is just the beginning of a wonderful offseason in which we make some great trades and have a new coach, and we're all excited moving into the next year. But if you're at all interested in any kind of offseason stuff, trades, what our opinions on the new coach, all that kind of stuff, please tune in. We know our stuff, and we will talk about other team situations, things like that. It's always fun to talk hoops. So just because the games are over doesn't mean our community has to end until next year. We hope to see most of you around for the offseason.
Yeah, lots of good things to look forward to in the offseason, and I'll tweet about them, maybe make a short video on just kind of what offseason plans are. So there's a lot to look forward to. And when news breaks about Terry Stotts being fired, expect a live stream very shortly afterwards. Come back here. Make sure to follow our channel on Twitter as well, because we'll tweet out a link when we go live with any like random impromptu stream, like a Fire Stotts stream, or a Stotts has been fired stream. Yeah, if it's tomorrow, it's gonna be hard for Eric to make it, so we'll see.
If it's tomorrow, please be like the 5 o'clock dump, like when they try to do news, like right before the weekend, you know.
Yep. So yeah, make sure to follow our channel page, because we'll tweet that out. Our channel page is at Blazers Uprise YT. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Tory Jones YT. Eric is at Hoopsjock. All the Twitter links are in the description below, as well as that link to our second channel, which we will be streaming Mondays and Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. Pacific time during the off season. And thank you guys for tuning in with us this season. My hair is not good enough. Let me put my hat back on before I sign off for the final time this season. Yeah, we'll be drinking champagne. Hoist Gaming, we'll get the champagne ready.
Actually, you joke, but I think I might have to go buy some alcohol for when that happens. I will, if it's all right with you, I will have some drinks on the air while we celebrate.
Do it. I'll wear a robe. I might wear the robe, the famous robe that everybody wants me to wear for a stream. That might be the stream to bring it out. So I'll literally just kick my feet up with the robe. I'll sit here. I'll pour some champagne, and I'll be chilling. That'll be the stream will go live, and you'll just catch me here pouring champagne in a robe. I swear.
Dude, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah, make sure you catch that stream when it happens. We gotta hit 1K viewers at a time. Like we gotta hit 1K viewers on that stream. King Current viewers.
My mom with the your mom joke.
Your mom made it your mom joke?
She says your mom has been drinking since I got home. My mom, she was at the game tonight, like Tori, and yeah, she, I guess, went home to drink her sorrows away.
That's so funny. Your mom's awesome. Shout out to Eric's mom. Eric's mom has been with us all season long. She's funny. She's cool. I like her. Shout out to all of you guys for being with us as well, and everybody who donated during the season, everybody who became a channel member, everybody that's given us support and made us a part of their nights. A lot of you guys have been in here a lot and are like staples of the community. A lot of you guys have a big part in this community. So thank you for making the community as good as it is. I talked about it a little bit earlier. I can't say it enough. This community is phenomenal. I appreciate you guys. I am blessed to be able to talk basketball with y'all, and y'all give me the opportunity to have this platform, because it wouldn't be a platform without you guys. So you guys mean the world to us. We appreciate you. We hope, honestly, I say it every time I sign out, but I mean it. I hope all your guys' lives are going well. I hope, every time I say I hope you have a good rest of your night, I mean it, because you guys mean a lot to us and have made this all possible. So anything left to sign off with on the final post-game stream of the year, Eric?
Thank you to our mods as well. You guys did a great job all season. Yeah, we really appreciate you guys. You pretty much made every stream, and you made our jobs a lot easier, and we appreciate you guys.
Yep, Trevin, Zach, and Reese have been modding with us all year. Jackson, we signed, but we signed him. Jackson, we brought on for the playoffs. So, yeah, I appreciate those three, Trevin, Reese, and Zach especially, and then Jackson as well for helping us out with the playoffs. Not sure if Trevin's going to be a mod next year. We got to figure that out. He has some life things, some priorities and whatnot. I don't know what his plan is. So we might add a fifth mod. We might, I don't know, depending on what Trevin wants to do, might have somebody in place for Trevin. I know a bunch of people in chat right now are getting excited saying, mod me. But, we might have somebody new to sign next year. A new free agent acquisition to the mod team.
Trevin's one of the OGs, though. He'll always have a spot.
Yes, Trevin is. If Trevin wants to stay a mod, he's staying a mod. Like, it's up to Trevin, So, not trying to take you away. I just know Trevin has some. I don't know. It's up to you, man. It's completely up to you. Just let us know. Shout out to Taylor, the self-proclaimed fifth mod. But yeah, shout out to all you guys. I mean, we'll see you Monday. We'll have another stream on Monday. I mean, it's Thursday, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I hope you enjoy your weekends. We'll have another stream on Monday. I mean, if Stotts gets fired tomorrow, we'll have another stream tomorrow. So it's not like we're not gonna see y'all, But just wanted to let you guys know we appreciate you and all the support you've given us through this basketball season, and now we transition into the off season, and hopefully it's a good one. Fingers crossed. So anyway.
Yep.
Any final words before we sign off?
No, love you all. Disappointing season, but it's been fun with talking hoops with you, Tori. Thank you again for the opportunity to be on this channel with you. I appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate you, man. You're a great co-host, and proud of the analysis we've provided all season long. Even if it's a bit of a divisive one for some people, we just speak our minds, we speak our opinions, and wear our emotions on our sleeves, and that's how we do it. So it's cool that people enjoy that.
And just so anyone doesn't think otherwise, we do not purposely be divisive or want to play like the Stephen A. Smith yell at the clouds thing. We're just This is just our natural how we feel. Like,
Yep. And hopefully, I mean, if there's a new coach next season, then it's going to be a completely different thing. I don't see how we can be known as the Fire Stotts guys if we have a coach outside of Stotts. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's the thing. That's the thing with the new coach. It's going to be interesting to kind of just see how the Blazer fan base kind of warps itself around that, because it's kind of been you like Stotts side or you don't like Stotts side. So with the new coach, it's gonna change that up, and I want to see that. For that reason, too, I'm kind of curious to see how that'll go. So, anyway.
Can you imagine breaking down clipboard of, like, plays we really like seeing? Because it's happening so often. And, like, look at this awesome breakdown of this play.
Bro, we ran this set, and it was beautiful, and this is what we did. I would love for that to be the case next year. So, fingers crossed, guys. Next year, I'm hoping for a better season. So, anyway, that's going to do it for us. We were what? There was 4 preseason games, 72 regular season games, 6 playoff games. It's 82 games, actually. We were 82 for 82 on postgame shows. Did not miss a game this season. Shout out to you if you were in there for every one of those streams. Shout out to you if you're a regular. Appreciate y'all. And shout out to you if you tune in once in a while. You guys matter to us, too. We will catch you on the Fire Stotts stream if it happens this weekend, and if not, we will catch you on Monday on Blazers Uprise Live. As I've said, make sure to subscribe to that. Link is at the top of the description below. Twitter links are there as well. So with that, we're signing off for the final time this season. We will catch you all later. Have a good rest of your night and a good weekend. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.